Okay, this is an update on a couple of things. One of them, I decided to continue to work on the Ripple radio, my 4-header 9 radio. Radio is for the studio listening. It's not for broadcast. I figured I'd got one side done. It's back over here, and here's my components for the other side, for this side. So that's not necessarily what we're going to talk about. It's just a quick update. I'm going to give you an update on something that's a page that's on my website I'm working on. I just haven't had time to finish it. So you go to the website here, you scroll down, and all the pictures are live links. And so you'll scroll down to Bloomy Saltwater Cyanobacteria Fuels. Okay? And what it is, it's Bloomy, blue, like as in old, because the cyanobacteria that we grow saltwater fuel out of is about 4 billion years old. It's locked in the salt. With the proper frequencies, we're able to liberate it and grow a registered organic, certified organic, OMRI listed process for producing biofuels. Basically, an organic biofuel that is hydrogen bound, not carbon bound, a virgin fuel oil. Okay, out of the cyanobacteria. The same cyanobacteria that feeds your shrimp, krill, and lobster and turns salmon red when you cook it, or salmon goes upstream. As the fish defecate, the algae later feeds the coral. Then they drink the urine from the fish. That's how coral drink, so that they can build their exoskeleton and use the calcium carbonate in the ocean. Okay. When they're in the oil stage, they're producing oil. But when they're in the food stage, the cyanobacteria is producing our oxygen. And our oxygen is going down on the ocean. Okay. Because we're sucking too much oil out of the ground and not feeding our fish and the oxygen cycle based on the electromagnetic spectrum over the grid, hence the 4-phase superconductive grid system that fixes the photosynthesis cycle, will fix all that. It starts fixing it in 3 heat cycles. So if we were to push over Hoover Dam and Niagara Falls, within 3 days, the effects of man-made climate change would be reversible. Okay? In 3 days. Proven empirically. So the funding opportunity that we're working on is in front of 800 venture capitalists in the Bay Area, my hometown. And the premise is to take PG&E out of bankruptcy and become a power producer. Because I have a lot of great products in a portfolio that will knock your socks off, okay? But it's not fair. It's not fair for 1 or 2 rich people to own the technology or the systems when it should be for the masses, is my understanding. So I've developed a copyrighted trade platform that basically puts the purchasers of the products as the stockholders of the company, not the shareholders, the stockholders. Because if you buy a product from me and it's $15,000 for a fuel cell for your Mercedes-Benz, hydrogen deuterium deuteride fuel cell that will produce at least 90% of your onboard fuel, okay? Then supplement it with what I'm going to introduce you to here. It's 100% of your fuel on board. You're done. We can put fuel in your gas tank for $1.70 a gallon. Okay? All in. So that's settled. Okay? That's nationwide. And if you're out in the middle of the nation, in other places where gas is cheaper and tax benefits, it's much cheaper than that, by far. But you can't suck the oil out of the ground for as much as we can make the biofuel, because it's not algae biofuel that rots in 3 days. It's DNA, perfect strain of the exact fuel that we're already burning before the carbon gets saturated in the fuel. Okay? So this is something I've wanted to do for a very, very long time. Okay? Not the fuel. This was produced way back in 2006, understanding, and posted on YouTube in 2012 of the fuel burning. Plus, I'm going to unlock videos of all the explosion tests and everything that you can possibly understand about how awesome this fuel is. Okay, it's 86 cetane and bounces somewhere between 112 and 120 octane. Okay, and it's a very lubricant fuel. It is very lubricant fuel. Okay, the hydrogen is pretty much a drying fuel. So if you add the lubricant fuel with that very little amount, then you're going to have a very good, robust engine. The car that's on the Hydro Me page, we'll go there first. Okay, so this is hydrogen injection systems. Okay, down here we support fully brute force electrolysis. Okay, this page gives you the complete, true understanding of what HHO, the combined column gas of Michael Faraday's electrolysis at 60% efficiency. We're one of the only companies who has a validated EO that allows you to produce that fuel on board of the vehicle and properly, legally install the systems with validations that our emissions and NOx are pretty much zero. Okay, but that's a catalyst fuel. I want to make something very clear. A Brown's gas, HHO, combined column, hydrogen, oxygen, HOH, whatever you want to call it, it's oxygen off the negative electrode, 2 parts, 1 part hydrogen off the positive electrode. Okay, so but that's brute force electrolysis. We got that handled, and we support that industry because it's necessary for the masses. So now we come up here to hydrogen injection systems. Okay, and hydrogen injection systems, this is the full understanding of hydrogen deuteride injection under pressure. Okay, HHO is under the intake manifold under no more than 15 psi and pretty much vacuum. Otherwise, it will self-detonate, and that's not good. This fuel, hydrogen deuteride, we can pressurize it to 6,000 psi. Okay, my flagship Mercedes-Benz, right here. The video will come up in a moment. We twisted the axles off this car, and this car already has 700 foot-pounds of horsepower and 612 foot-pounds of torque at 2,000 RPM. And so it's my flagship test car for this. I figured if it's going to be anybody, it's going to be my own vehicle. Okay? That'll load. It's not necessarily important. You can find it on the website. Okay? What's important is coming back here to the home page. Okay? Excuse me. To the home page, or the toolbar on top, whichever one's comfortable for you. And when I populate this page here, okay, you're going to see something amazing. This fuel is ridiculously powerful. Okay? So this is what I've wanted to do for about 10 years. Not the fuel, this. Okay? I've wanted to make an hourglass. So at the bottom here, if you can see that, that's how dense the fuel is. Okay? It's extremely dense. It's basically solid deuterium, okay? In a metallic hydrogen-bound state. Low carbon fuel, okay? So these little caps in here, they came out of the top for this one, so I could make an hourglass out of that. We're going to look at that in a moment. But I just wanted to point something out here, that those caps are phenolic, not plastic. I detest plastic in all kinds of ways. It's a necessary evil, but I like phenolic. Okay, so let's do some weight test. these are the empty bottles, okay? So they weigh 29.4. Okay, we'll go through this quickly and then we'll do tare. This is distilled water, vapor distilled water. It weighs 64.6. Okay. This is seawater, 65.8. Okay. This is seawater on the top and Bloomy on the bottom. 67.5. Okay. Now let's do the tares. 29.2. Okay. Tares 2. Distilled water. Just give me a second. Yeah, 29.2. There's distilled water. That's not right. Give me a moment. Let's start that again. Sorry about that. Okay. Zero. Okay, 29.3. Tare. Okay, that's right. 35.4. Okay. Tare. That's distilled water. So from distilled water to seawater, it's 1.4 grams. That's probably very close. Now, we'll tare that. To Bloomy in seawater. 1.3, and then we have to add these little caps because I took them out of the top. Okay, 2.2 grams heavier than seawater, half of that. Okay? So that's pretty good. That's pretty dense, in my opinion. Now, let's do something here. We're going to take the stopwatch here, and we're going to tare this. Okay? This is the first time I've done this. I drilled the hole. I have no idea how long it's going to take for the top to go to the bottom, but I know it eventually will. So, and I don't know what something else is going to be. Okay, I don't know what the weight's going to be when I flip this over. It should be the same. Thankfully it is. Okay, now we're going to start the stopwatch. Here. Okay, the stopwatch is going, and everything is running just fine. Pretty cool, huh? Now, if this was electrode erosion or any of that stuff, back in seawater, I guarantee you it would be rusty. We know what this is. We're very comfortable with this fuel. But I have personal humanitarian etiquette. I'm not going to give a Band-Aid, whether it be supercomputing, medical, hydrogen injection systems, any of that stuff, until we can fix the core underlying problem, which is the grid. That's what I'm after. I'm after fixing the grid first. There's no sense of me producing a Band-Aid to keep going forward. The fix is the grid. It sounds like a daunting, ridiculous task, but it's clearly not. It's really not. All we have to do is come online with a couple big generators to offset the movement of the electromagnetism, and we solve that problem. Okay? This may take a while. I have no idea how long it's going to take. But I know eventually it will all end up at the bottom. It's just really thick. It's been strained one time. Let me give it a little bit of... There we go. I just strained I drilled, I don't know, 3/32 hole, something pretty small in there. Eventually I'll figure out and time it to a relatively close time. Okay. I'll put the posted time in the link because apparently that's going to take a couple of hours to go. So on the front page of the website, we take engineering extremely serious. This picture was taken on my birthday in St. Louis, Missouri at the historic courthouse. Okay, I spent 8 years in decorative arts, so I was primarily looking at the colors and the gold gilding and the paintwork. And then I came across the American flag. And I figured that would be the most suiting picture to let you know that if this doesn't happen in the United States of America first, I guarantee you it will not happen. Okay? So there's some very important things that you need to understand. The first thing that you need to understand is what's called the Patriot Act. That's been ratified by the Senate. Okay? Nobody can take this away. No current administration. And what it does is, with patent law, it allows, finally, the oppression to be lifted on disruptive technologies. So if I come up with something that's 30% more efficient, even if it's a light bulb, the federal government and the DOE have to implement the technology, versus the rumors of the 100-mile carburetor that the automakers bought and sequestered the technology, or in Stan Meyer's case, allegedly murdered inventors over greed. So that's lifted, okay? Then we have a second issue that we have to discuss. It's the Paris Agreement, which is a voluntary contract for every nation to finally come to the table one time, to move their sovereignty to set that aside, to try to figure this out. The nation who figures this out first gets to sell to the other nations under contract, barring all, political and, fiduciary and issues, right? That's so awesome. Pulling out of the Paris Agreement is the most asinine thing that anybody could ever do, okay? By far. There's probably nothing more asinine that do, because it's not an asinine event selfishly, it's selflessly destroying everybody and the option for everybody, okay? So, and with no personal benefit, just vandalism. It's just political vandalism. is the best I can say it. Okay? Federal vandalism, because it's over $400 or $1,000 or whatever the statute is for vandalism. Okay? It's a federal crime because it is vandalism. So, I'm extremely busy. So I tried to make the website a white paper. Each page being a white paper, whether it's a white paper for commercial call or a white paper on technology. Okay. And these are all products that you can purchase today. I just choose not to do much advertising for them because, first of all, I don't necessarily need to. Okay. I'm relatively solvent. I have bills like everybody else, but I don't owe anybody anything. Okay. So this is our mission statement. First, it's research. Okay? Research. So this is where it all begins. Research, scrap. Repeat until success. Not only is Mr. Puckta dedicated to research, he's dedicated to teaching. If you don't understand or can't understand your own research well enough to properly explain to and educate your audience definition, it can be a handicap. I mentor a tremendous amount of men and women without oppression. It's not my problem if they have their own issues. I try to work with that to keep them out of their reclusiveness, to let them know that I'm your affirmation of help, okay? Of hope, affirmation of hope. That we can do this. We can all do this together. Instead, Mr. Puckta associates within Proton's Spin Technology portfolio help in the validations of your work to assist you along in the correct path for pursuit of happiness and prosperity. Mr. Puckta always feels mentoring and guidance has no billable hours. Consultations do. That's right. I spend a tremendous amount of time giving mentoring and guidance to get guys in the right direction, because I've found quite a bit of areas where they may be going off topic and spending a tremendous amount of time. One of them lately, the most famous one in my portfolio, would be Edmund Storms. He spent a tremendous amount of years at Los Alamos Labs trying to figure out why cold fusion works. Has no idea, absolutely no idea. And this is the man in Edmund Storms. He's man enough to go up on stage and tell everybody, here's where I'm at, and I don't know why. If you can figure it out, I'd be more than happy to hear from you. Okay? So he heard from me on a couple of occasions. So I go to current events. On the event schedule, I'm scheduled to go to the summit in Santa Clara, California, and Venture Summit, and pitch in front of 800 registered venture bankers. It's going to be interesting. I can tell you that. And I'm going to put that on the schedule. Next is development. Okay? Our factories recycle discarded materials back to use. I am a junkyard dog, religiously. Okay? I would prefer to buy a truckload of garbage from a scrapyard than buy one thing new and separate those components and use them at a later date to get the component that I need. I have no problem with that. I have no problem going to thrift stores. I have no problem going to garage sales. I have no problem with any of that stuff for bargains. I enjoy it. Okay? When this comes to fruition, you're going to see that, yes, I have a very large wealth portfolio. There's no question about that. Okay? There's no question. I'm an SEC fiduciary bank. Okay? There's no question. But I'm not an asshole billionaire that's unobtainable. Okay? And I don't ever want to be. Yeah. Eventually, maybe I'll be worth a tremendous amount more. But at the end of the day, my portfolio today makes Bill Gates blush. Okay? That's not a problem. I don't want to be that person. I want simple, simplified, clean, and the premise of this is this. We're trying to protect our oceans. Our factory recycled discarded materials back to use, keeping them out of our landfills and oceans. Hydrogen fuel cells and hydrogen manufacturing uses sustainable materials. However, the most important thing in the use of hydrogen products found here is to substitute the need for fossil fuels and earth-found materials like lithium. So the lithium ion test that you're seeing here, okay, this is part of the update, kind of hidden in this message. This phone, as you can see, is the one that was charged on the linear magnetic circuit, PUCTA power, okay? 4-phase superconductive grid. I've been using them equally and charging them equally on electromagnetism. This one, I can't keep it charged. This is Faraday Tesla, okay? This one's the new grid. And I have more density now in the battery, which implies we're bringing the battery closer to a superconductive state at room temperature by changing the carbon into lithium, regrowing or reducing the dendrites, the little trees that grow from one electrode to the other, and short out the batteries, okay? This battery has more density, and this one has more programs running than this phone, okay? So that's your lithium-ion update. Because if we don't have to change our phone batteries as much, that's a bit, or car batteries, or power cell batteries, or power plant backup batteries, and we can preserve the lithium. That makes that lithium reserve, which is god awfully expensive and very not environmentally friendly, okay, a better resource for us. David A. Putta, founder of Proton Technology, has a vast but targeted portfolio outlined here in the video support at H Hydrogen for Power YouTube. Okay, we went over engineering, but let's read it. Manufacturers in hydrogen industry can prioritize the environment in which its workers lived, creating new materials and healthier homes. That's the premise. You've seen standing waves in fluorescent lights. You've seen better power. We've had multiple people come through and be around the field of the energy, people that have electrosensitivity, people that have nervous disorders, people that have eye disorders, and they feel better. Is that a medical claim? I don't know, but I just know they feel better. Did I fix them? I have no idea, but I know they feel better. That's all I care about. Do you feel better? Yes. Do you feel worse? Yes. Okay. Feel worse, I better shut it off. If you feel better, I might as well leave it on. Okay? They can stare at the lights. They can be around the fusion reaction, and they're not bothered. And I have to do that because I may be immune. I may be radioactive immune to my own thing. Even though if it were radioactive, trust me, I would be dead. I get bone scans and CAT scans periodically just to make sure I don't have any holes in me from gamma rays or any of that stuff, because it's true fusion. Okay, so I guess I have to drill a bigger hole or keep talking. Okay, probably going to drill a bigger hole, but for now this will do. So we take trade secrets and intellectual property very seriously. That means when you come to me with a problem, that secret is very much guarded. I can guarantee you, because I know that you spent a tremendous amount of time, and time is money. Time is time away from your family, your portfolio, your wealth, your whatever. And so if I can get you going forward with cheeseburger money, I'd be more than happy to do that. Okay? Hydrogen fuel cells or any other products in the manufacturing portfolio outlined in Proton Spin Technology Corporate R&D, engineering, manufacturing is a sustainable future and a necessary industry to fight not only climate change. We are committed to research and development as a first step in product development. It goes without saying that sound engineering is the key to success in the development of products before and after the prototype stage onto the market without delay. I'm a very fast, very accomplished builder, okay? I build very fast, very efficiently, and very well, okay? You're looking at 1,000 gallon per minute system, okay? We don't joke around. We're always on the lookout for like-minded partners. That is true. Let's manufacture the future together in the hydrogen industry, building the future using hydrogen fuel cell technology and sustainable practices in the hydrogen manufacturing industry. We're always available for mentoring and guidance. You can book a group or private meeting with Proton Spin Technology or me. Machine shop services. I'm a very good machinist, okay? I take pride in my work tremendously, okay? I will never build you and send you off with a piece of crap. Okay, I'll take money out of my own pocket profits if I bid a job to you and I hold on those bids. That's a guarantee. Okay. Machine shop services in-house and for full customers, the backbone of the business operations and keep the day-to-day staff busy. We count on machine shop services just to keep the lights on. Okay? You're welcome to inquire about a quote for any work needed. We have a full machine shop available for your needs, from exotic and electronic components such as ferrite transformers or ceramics and metals for aerospace and industrial applications. There isn't anything that I cannot machine. Okay? I don't care what it is. Marketing. This is the important part. It's pretty important. Marketing is important to a product's success, and it's to who you know in the procurement of the industry that makes all the difference. This photo was taken at the World Conference in San Diego for the IDA, International Desalination Association, where Proton Spit Technology was sitting at the president's inaugural table doing business for the Drink Me project, which you guys will see on the page when I populate it. Ridiculous. We're the only company to first properly responsibly desalinate water from the Central Valley, pump it back into the California aqueduct at $400 an acre foot pumping, at $1,200 wholesale, the cheapest you can buy water in the California, every 3 hours. So the farmer's making $800 every 3 hours. Plus, he can have water credits for other properties. Plus, we grew certified organic, food safe, grassy fed beef for Harris Ranch, okay, on registered fallow field. That was almost impossible. By taking the cyanobacteria and converting it to a fuel for the farmer's tractor at 17 cents a gallon, okay, because he owned the refinery, and fertilizer, so he can have certified organic fertilizer for his certified organic grass-fed beef. Okay. Then we go to scientifics and information and contact, and everything's live. Okay. So, new air. New air is we've been able to disassociate CO2, only to find that it's graphene inside of CO2. Okay? And this page talks about the CO2 cycle. It talks about everything. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, all of these links are live. Okay? This page is a true white paper. There's no sales implemented here. It's just technology based. Okay? Talks about the photosynthesis cycle, like I said, and the fact, and it shows empirical data. That's the problem with most pseudosciences out there, is they cannot show empirical data. We have more empirical data than you can ever imagine. Right now, we're at about 160,000 registered lab hours, okay? Not including pondering from 2012 is when we started registering, okay? So the first commercial white paper is that talks about sales. Jesus, this stuff is really thick. I'm going to have to drill a bigger hole. Yeah, I'm going to have to drill a bigger hole. Okay, the first commercial white paper is Biogem. Now, Biogem is going to lead you into something very important. Okay, this talks about the energy that it produces, and right at the top, the energy calculator and the battery calculator, those two links lead you to the calculator that I use, so we're all on the same page. I give you the volts, the ohms, everything, and it's backed up by testing in video. So you can look at the video, that you can see the ohms, everything squares. Okay, we're not trying to hide anything. It's just the fact that we understand superconductivity very well. Okay, and they're trying to figure out what superconductivity is. Okay? But the preference of this is, here's our smart car from Mercedes-Benz. Here's the watts lithium-ion battery charging. Here's how much it would cost for a car, so you don't have to plug it in. And the most important part is, here's how much it would cost for a home. Okay? Right here. $1,800 to take your home off-grid with no solar, on top of a $3,500 Tesla Powerwall. And we're going to use their housings because they're open source and they'll look sexy. Okay? It works just fine. This is what Biogem looks like in the refractive microscope. Here's the Claire's goblet, magnetic graphene. It's positive and positive on each end, and they just figured this out on this date. We've been making graphene magnetic for years from CO2. Here's the chemical chain, registered in science. Okay? Here's what it looks like hypothetically on a zero band gap semiconductor with graphene. Okay? Here's what it looks like hypothetically again on the artist rendition drawing on an oscilloscope. And here is reality. Okay? There's reality. There's my oscilloscope. Okay? We're building new IC superconductive chips. Okay, Biogem already charges